Hello and welcome to Bears Tea and Tarot with me, Graham Joseph Norton, and my wonderful co-host Richard G. Jones. You're very welcome to be here with us today, and we have a special guest today, a Mr. Alexander Rodriguez, whom I know nothing about, and Richard is going to introduce and talk to us about shortly. So, very welcome. Hi, Richard.
Hey, Graham. How you doing, my love?
I'm grand. I spent this afternoon, well, most of today, in my first ever theme park. Isn't that tragic at my age? With some of the students of the clinic that I work in. So we had 27 teenagers rambling around this park, and there was a zoo, and it was all cool. But I was on my first ever roller coaster. So there
Oh
you go.
my!
Yes, new experiences at this stage of my life. There we go.
Did you enjoy it?
Do you know what? I was a bit kind of apprehensive because I'm not a great one for the Owl Heights, but it was grand. But I just felt like because we queued for like roughly an hour, and then it was like over like in a minute. You know, it's a bit like a disappointing shag that you've stalked all night. So it was, it's like, is that it? Like, is that all there is, as the song goes? But it was.
Yeah, the expectation of an hour-long queue, you think you're going to get something pretty amazing.
Yeah. And I was like, and we timed, actually, then myself and one of the other teachers, we decided to time the rides. And most of them are coming in at like under a minute, under 2 minutes at least. I was like, God, after queuing that length of time, you'd think. But anyway, it was a lovely day, and the sun was splitting the rocks, so that's the main thing we had. And we didn't lose any children. That was the main thing. So
even better, better. That's lovely, my darling. Well, I mean, this episode is our guest episode. So if those of you are listening for the first time, we don't do a guest every episode. We do a guest every other to give us space to have your questions in the episode that doesn't have a guest, so that you're like the guest that episode. So there's no questions from the audience or the listeners this week. It is our guest who is a lovely chap by the name of Alexander Rodriguez. He is somebody I've known for a very long time. He's in the media. He runs his own podcast and has done for years, called On the Rocks with Alexander Rodriguez, based out of LA. And he has amazing guests. I mean, A-listers. He's going to shake his head at me because I'm going to forget names, but he has interviewed some pretty amazing people in the world of entertainment. He's the new publisher of the LA Blade. He's written for numerous LGBTQ publications and probably still does. And again, I'm going to forget names. He also has his own other podcast that deals with paranormal. So that's going to be a bit about that when he comes on as well. So he's a seasoned entertainer, seasoned podcaster, broadcaster, writer. But you've never met him before. We've never been in the company before. And I just felt that A, is a great friend, and B, I just think he'd be great on this podcast and deserving of a reading from you, Graham. So that's why I've invited him on the show. So yeah.
And you've been deliberately keeping me in the dark about this. Like literally, I only found out your first name yesterday. He literally would tell me absolutely nothing. And we were having a funny conversation the other day because I was talking to Richard. It was like late at night, and he was just saying, "Are you okay, Seth?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm grand, Jay." I said, and then his mum, Richard's mother, popped in, and I said, "Why is she talking to me about Earl Grey?" So we were having this whole conversation with Earl Grey tea, and then I said, "There's a little Spanish lady following me around all week called Marisol." So that was very interesting as well.
Don't forget, Alexander's not in the room with it. I mean, he's not
in the room with us just yet. Yeah.
But so it'd be, I don't know whether it'd be interesting to bring him in. Do we want to just kick off with a quick meditation so that we can?
We'll do the quick meditation.
Bring Alexander in. I think now you've said that, he's going to be like.
I know, it's so unscripted. I'm really sorry. I should have said nothing, but it was just because we were having a conversation about tea. So
it's absolutely. I mean, it's interesting that our mothers are around.
Well, you know they say about gay men and their mothers.
Well, this is true. Look, I'll leave the room as well to give you the meditation, and then when we pop back, we'll bring in wonderful Alexander to join us, have a little gossip, and get his reading going. Over to you, my lovely Graham.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you all just to take a deep breath and close your eyes. So we're going to breathe in and out, and in and out, and just let yourself become comfortable on the surface that you're resting upon. Let your hands rest gently, and just begin to slowly relax, breathing out any tension. Again, inhaling deeply and exhaling slowly. And feel your body begin to settle, your mind becoming still, and your breath flowing freely. Now, I want you to imagine a warm golden light above your head, slowly pouring down over you like sunlight through your crown. This is helping you feel safe, grounded, and ready to receive. Now, bringing your awareness to the base of your spine, I want you to visualize a deep red light glowing there. Feel it pulsing gently as you silently repeat, I am safe. I am grounded. I am energized with life. And I now invite you to breathe in strength and breathe out tension. As the light begins to move up your body, turn your attention to your lower belly. Here, I want you to visualize a bright orange light. This is your sacral chakra. And I want you to feel warmth spreading through your hips, your belly, and your lower back. And silently, I invite you to say, I welcome joy. I flow with creativity. I deserve pleasure and connection. I ask you now to breathe in joy and breathe out resistance. And again, allow the energy to travel up through your body, focusing on the area just above your belly button. Here, I want you to picture a radiant yellow sun glowing in your core. Feel it fueling your body with energy and purpose. As you repeat inwardly, I am powerful. I am confident. I radiate positivity. And I invite you to breathe in power and breathe out self-doubt. And again, allow the energy to come up through your body once more into your heart center. Allow your heart chakra to open. As you bring your awareness to the center of your chest, I want you to see a soft green light blooming there. I want you to feel it expanding with warmth and compassion for yourself and for those around you. As you again silently say, I give and receive love freely. My heart is open to joy. We breathe in love and we breathe out heaviness. And again, the energy rises up through your body. This time, it reaches your throat. And here I want you to see a clear blue light swirling and expanding. Feel the energy of your voice, your truth, your song. As you repeat, I speak my truth with kindness. I share joyfully and honestly. And we breathe in clarity. And we breathe out hesitation. And now we turn our attention to our third eye, which is in the center of our forehead, just between, slightly above our eyebrows. Here I want you to visualize a deep indigo or violet light. And as you do so, I want you to feel the energy of insight, vision, and wisdom awakening. Silently affirm, I trust my intuition. I see with joyful clarity. And I invite you now to breathe in knowing and breathe out confusion. And finally, we complete the loop as the energy reaches our crown chakra. We bring our awareness to the top of our head, and here I want you to imagine a bright violet or white light spinning gently. I want you to feel it connecting you to the universe, to divine light and joy. As you repeat inwardly, I am one with joy, love, and infinite light. And now I want you to imagine that you're breathing in this light through your very crown chakra and allowing it just to fill your body once more. We breathe in the light, allowing it to fill every cell of our being, and we breathe out limitation. We do it once more, in and out. And now I want you to imagine all of these lights, the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, the indigo, and the violet, glowing in harmony. I want you to see them spinning gently, aligned and vibrant, flowing with energy and joy. I want you to feel yourself renewed, balanced, and full of light. I want you to take one more deep final breath in, holding all of this wonderful energy, and exhaling slowly, knowing that your chakras are open and you are replenished. And when you're ready, gently bring movement to your fingers, your toes, and open your eyes, knowing that you are aligned, you are energized, and you are joy. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful as ever, my lovely. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Beautiful, always, always. Well, look, I think we won't dally.
Keep this poor man waiting.
Bring the lovely Alexander Rodriguez into the studio. Here he is.
Hello.
Hey, Alexander.
Hello.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's good to see you. And what have you been up to recently? I know it's been a whirlwind, but give us a couple of updates so our viewers and listeners know what's been going on for you.
Well, it's been crazy. We're gearing up for our Pride. So I'm in Los Angeles. So this weekend we have WeHo Pride, to be followed the weekend after with LA Pride. And I'm currently the new publisher for the LA Blade. We had our Best of Queer LA Awards this last week. So that took up a big chunk of time, but we celebrated, the Southern California's movers and shakers in the queer world and our allies, and it was a really fun party at the world famous Abbey. So
great,
yeah.
Great.
It's been busy.
Good. Well, look, I mean, Graham, are you ready to dive in? And I'll let the two of you chat. And
as you can probably see, I clearly am. Everything's starting to stand on edge, so Spirit is already here with me. The first card I pulled for you today. Oh, look at this.
Let me step out and leave you to it.
Oh yeah, I'm going to turn on the. But just before I'll put on the other camera. But the first thing that came out before this was the King of Pentacles, and then this is after falling out. So that is the Six of Wands. So you're on the path to success and happiness.
Hey, I just saw a guy on a horse, so my knight in shining armor. Like I'm already happy.
That's the card of victory.
Good.
So Yeah. So as I said beforehand, she is here. She's with me. It's a small Spanish lady called Marisol. So I'm assuming this is your mum, because I'm getting a very maternal energy from her. Would that be right?
Yeah. So yes.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, now I'm going to just change the camera over so you can see the cards as I deal them.
Sure.
But I'm still going to be talking to you. You'll still be on screen, but you'll just see my hands and stuff. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So can you see my hands?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Great
Okay.
manicure.
Grand. Yeah, I wouldn't know about that now. But anyway, I don't have time to get a manicure. I could do one desperately. But anyway, so what I'm feeling is that when I was fiddling with the cards, yeah, okay, there's been a lot of decisions that you've had to make, and some of them have been quite heartbreaking, but it's about moving on from different things. Is this resonating with you? Okay, but you have sought the right advice and you've taken the right steps to make, because that's the King of Cups, followed by the Page of Wands. So this is, a lot of it was very emotional for you to do because you felt like you were betraying a lot of people, but actually, no, it's actually the right thing to do for you. So is that resonating with you? The decisions were very painful because you felt like you were in between a rock and a hard place, and this is around your career. Okay, so it's all about sometimes you felt like you couldn't do right for wrong, and that um, you kind of felt, well, if I do this, I'm going to upset these people, and if I do that, I'm going to upset them, but I need to kind of have a moment to think. But you've actually chosen the right path. Okay, so this is what I'm being told by Spirit. Okay. Yeah, and actually what you did was you tried to be the best for everybody, because this is an interesting card, the Five of Swords. It's a mental card. So swords is always the element of air, which is thought. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting one, because if you see the guy here, right, it's like, is he picking up the swords or is he putting them down? And what are these guys doing? Okay, is it sunset? Is it sunrise? Okay, so five is always change. So what it is telling me, I'm feeling this for you because we're looking to the past, and I think you've left the past behind you and you're moving into the future. Okay, but this is like, you try to do everything honorably and keep everybody happy. Is this resonating?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So what it's saying is the red, you've done everything, it's the root chakra, and you had to make tough decisions, but you stood in your power, and the blue is you spoke your truth. Okay, so how does that sit with you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, have you anything specific? So that's, your mum is telling me that she is watching you from the spirit world, and that's, she said she has been guiding you and sending you signs as you've been going to do this, what you've been doing, and she's pushing you forward to be happy and successful. And she said that you are in this very difficult phase, and you said you felt like you couldn't do right for wrong, but you are on the right path, and what you did was the best thing for you, and it was honorable. Okay, is that making sense to you?
Well, the thing about my mom, I had a very close relationship with her, but I haven't as close as we were. And I know every gay boy says, "I'm close to my mom." We were extremely close. And so I haven't really felt her presence. I haven't really received her signs, and that's
Okay.
been a difficult part of moving on. Is I don't have that sense of closeness with somebody that I was so close to. So it's interesting that that you feel that there's a presence there, because I haven't felt that.
But often, you probably can't see this, my beard is standing on edge, because that's what happens usually when they're talking to me. when we're very close to that person, it takes a while for that connection to return. And the reason is sometimes we need to be protected, but also when they've moved into the spirit world, so that we're not constantly drawing on their energy as they're settling into the nut. They are always around, but that can be also to do with your own psychological makeup to kind of protect you. But yes, she is very much telling me that she is always around. Okay, and you just need to ask. She's actually after telling me that if you ask her, she will leave a sign. You have to ask her for something very specific, and you'll receive it within the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay? So something that you and she will know. Okay? And you will get it, and you'll recognize it. Okay? So, yes. But this is about a time of celebration for you. So the Three of Cups. So your hard work is about to pay off. There's some interesting new people coming into your life. And this is all about building partnerships and strengthening the foundations to move forward in life. So whether this is about, I suspect this is to do with moving into the new position. I think it's going to open up doors that you felt were previously closed for you. And I think this is what the reading is about. Yes, because it's the Ace of Pentacles reversed. You felt it was a very hard slog and that you just couldn't quite push through the door. But yes, things are going to start moving forward for you quite quickly. Yes, but again, it's about you having to let go of the past, okay? Because the Five of Cups is about, again, it's the change. The number of change is coming for you an awful lot, okay? So if you look at this, we have 2 cups and we have 3. So the 2 is about the choices that we have to make. And sometimes we're not seeing the bigger picture because we're too focused on the minutiae in front of us, all the stuff that we've lost, we're crying over the spilt milk. But look, intuition is guiding you forward. And can you see here, just very, very at the bottom, just at the bottom of the card, that's salt, right? So you have actually all the elements here, right? And what it's actually telling you is you have everything inside of you to manifest what you want, okay? But you have kind of gotten yourself into a negative headspace with your emotions and stuff like this, and you've lost sight of where you're going. Is this resonating with you?
100%.
I can see you nodding. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can actually ask me questions and tell me things, because people think, well, God, he's just going on and on. So, I'm here to help you, right? So I'm interviewing you. So you just tell me what's resonating. Okay. So,
well, and I guess like in my new quest, it has not been
Mhm.
without its bumps and bruises.
No.
And I'm in that questioning time. It's, do I barrel through and move forward? There's just that whole question mark.
Yeah.
Like you said, the future is at my fingertips, but
It is.
it's where I want it to go and what kind of work I'm willing to put into it and what should I put up with at this point in terms of moving on. Yeah.
Well, what you shouldn't put up with, I think I'm having this very, very loud voice in my head going, nothing, baby, nothing. So I'm being told, no, know your worth is what I'm being screamed at in my ear. So, but again, look at this. You've not to doubt the new beginnings, okay? Because it's the 2 of Cups, okay? So this is about creating something new, okay? So often this is referred to as a sort of romantic card, but it's actually not in this case, because the 2 of Cups is about, again, 2s is always choices and decisions. But if we look at this is the Fool and the High Priestess, okay, coming together. So you're listening, you've gone on the path, you've made the choice, you've made an emotional choice, and you just need to have the courage to follow it through. Because what's the Fool? He steps off the cliff blindly, okay? But the High Priestess will guide him towards. And do you remember the first card we pulled out, which was the 6 of Wands, which is the victory card? Look, she's wearing a laurel. But you need to get over your fears because your heart is being guided if you just listen to it. Because if we look here, beside that, we have the 9 of Swords, and that's reversed. So that's telling you you're coming out of this negative headspace. If I was using the Rider-Waite deck, I'm using the Morgan Greer, but if I was using that, you'd see the traditional image of someone on their bed with their hands in their head. So they're being overwhelmed by their thoughts. But that's coming to an end because you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. The problem is, my darling, is that you wanted to be there tomorrow. And you're not willing to wait. And unfortunately, all of these things take time to cook. This is probably why I saw, yes, this is your apprenticeship phase. So, yes. Okay. So you just have to, it is about you just sitting down and putting the effort into your craft, but it will happen. So can I ask, like, give me a question. What is it that you want to focus? Like, where would you like to put your energy? Because I am being told that everything you put your hand to will work, but you just need to focus more on what it is that you actually want. Because then the path will open.
Yeah, I guess it's part of, I'm mentally and physically exhausted. It's been a rough 3 years. And surprisingly, career-wise has been good. It's been personally and family-wise, it's been emotionally and spiritually exhausted. So part of me feels that I need to take some time and have some grace with myself. But then I feel like that can also be destructive because then I feel like lazy and that I'm not taking advantage of opportunities. And so I just feel tired. And I feel less passion towards certain things that I did before. And that passion was all about my future career and certain things that I wanted to focus on. And I'm
Mhm,
just feeling tired in terms of passion and energy. And then that's when like negative thoughts come through. And I don't want to
mhm,
be overcome by negativity. But I'm also so
mhm,
tired as to be like, yes, I know that there's things that are waiting for me that have already happened that are good for me. But I'm
mhm.
just kind of tired too.
You are, because I'm looking at this as you've been talking. I've just pulled the Ace of Wands in reverse and the Eight of Swords in reverse. Again, the Ace of Wands is about spiritual energy. It's fire, it's passion, but it's reversed. Okay, so you've kind of hit a wall. Okay, the Eight of Swords, then eight is always obstacles. But what do we do with obstacles? We overcome them. So the Eight of Swords, I'm gonna put it up this way, right? Look at the lady. Okay, she's wearing a red dress. So again, we're getting back to that root chakra, that lower energy, that creative drive, all of that stuff. Okay, the root, right? The root of everything. Now, as you can see, she's standing in front of a castle. You can see that. There's eight swords around her. She's kind of has bindings all over her dress, and she's blindfolded. Okay, now there's only two cards with blindfolds in in the whole of the tarot, and that is the two and the eight of swords. And again, it's about we've already had that where Scylla and Charybdis, and we have this. So you've both of them. So your thoughts are racing, racing, racing. Okay, but what I'm going to ask you to do is right now. I'm going to say something. We've had the two of swords. So my nickname that I normally call that card is the shut that up because I need a break. Okay, card. That's what that means. The Eight of Swords then is about it invites you to remember to take that breath. Okay, everything is going to be fine. If you stand still, you take a moment, you can easily see that you can drop your own bindings, take the blindfold off, and find your way out of the swords. Because look at this. Right, I'm going to look at the way the swords are all structured, okay? So we've got four over here. That's stability or stagnation, okay? So that means you're feeling stuck, right? The three here then allows you to use your creativity, okay? Because three is the number of creativity. But creativity comes after we make a choice, which is the two paired together. And then the one at the top is the ace. So it's the new beginning. It's cutting away what no longer serves us to move forward. But this is about you just deciding where to put your energy because it's going in all different directions because you're hoping for a land. And sometimes what I'm going to give you the piece of advice is sometimes we need to cut away, you know, as they say, what is it, the wheat from the chaff, you know? And I think this is it. I think you've so much going on and you're kind of feeling guilty about dropping certain things. And I kind of think I feel it's to do with the podcast. I feel that it's kind of draining you and you kind of want to move on from it. I could be wrong, but I think that you need to focus your energy into more creative things that are going to fulfill you. I think that maybe it's just maybe you need to take a step back from it for a while, maybe a break. I don't know. I could be wrong, and you can tell me. It's none of my business, whatever. But that's the word that keeps coming into my head. It's that's holding you back, and you need to decide what's going to move you forward. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know. I
that's 100%. I have taken a few steps back from the podcast to kind of think about things. It's just not, yeah. I know that
yeah.
it needs a rebirth, which I'm all ready
Yeah.
for, but the way it is now, it's yeah.
So we pulled death on that, but death in reverse. Now, death is the card of transformation, but this is, yeah, exactly that. You need to bring that in. You need to cut away what's no longer working for you so that you can move forward, okay? Because the other thing is going to bring you far more opportunities and open much more doors for you. That's the message that I'm being given. But like everything, it's just going to take time and nurturing. So I'm going to show you this. So can you see the seven? Okay, this is the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, so seven is about. Let's be a bit crude here and have a bit of a giggle,
Yeah,
because
it's
as you can
fun.
see, he's holding a hoe.
Oh,
Okay,
hello.
so he's plowing his fields with his lovely hoe. Okay, so, and again, we have this orange around his neck. So that is, of course, his sacral chakra. It's his creativity, his sexual drive. Okay, with the brown for the earth. But this is about tending to your garden. Okay, and it takes time. And sometimes You see the green here and then the blue? The green is the realm of the Empress, okay? So sometimes we need to put in the world in the work in the physical world and just trust that we're going to end up into the blue, which is the realm of the unconscious, which is our fantasies and our dreams. Now, 7 is, of course, a spiritual number, but it's also a number of mastery, okay, and education, okay, and knowledge. So you're still learning the ropes, right? And you're beating yourself up for learning the ropes because you feel that you should be much more ahead. Stop. You were given this job because you have the skill to do it. You need to get over the imposter syndrome, okay? Because if you don't believe in yourself, baby, who's gonna? Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit like fake it till you make it. Okay. But you were given the job for a reason, because you have the necessary skills and talents. But you just need to trust that this is the right move for you. Okay. Because okay. Again, just allow the garden to grow. Yeah. And sometimes, but I do feel that things are going to start picking up for you very, very quickly, because I'm seeing 7. Now, I feel 7, 7, 7. We're in July. We're in May now, June, July, August. I think it's going to be 7 months more before you're going to start seeing. You are seeing the things, but I think everything kind of settles. Oh, you're laughing there.
Well, I don't have 7 months.
7. But 7 is very important. But I do feel it's by the end of this year. Okay. Well, you do. But I do feel that kind of between now and the end of the year, things are going to start really showing for you, because we're coming into the summer now. So it's time to harvest. Do you know what I mean? So I do feel as things are starting to move on for you. Okay. I'll just pull a timing card. Yeah. Again, look at this. It's a summer card. Again, it's wands. So it's the Knight of Wands. So again, stuff is going to start moving for you very quickly. And I do feel you're going to get some signs by August. I keep hearing August in my head for you. Okay. So something coming for you in August. Okay. Is that resonating with you?
I mean, August is my birth month.
Birth month. Okay,
it's
so
my
you're a
grandma's
Leo.
birth month. Yeah, it's always been like a celebration month.
Okay, so maybe that's what that. But there's transformation coming for you here, because can you see the salamander on the glove?
Yeah.
Okay, getting back to that death, the rebirth, things are going to start kicking off for you then, and it is a new year, of course, astrologically for your birth year. But the wand then tells you again to trust. This is your passion, it's your fuel. You're being driven forward. Again, the eagle and the lion, the combination of spirit and courage, and you are of course a Leo, so that makes sense. So this is about you finding your voice. In another 3 months, things are going to seem a lot different for you, because this is about you just taking back your confidence. But by the end of the year, you're going to be laughing. Okay. So I think that, as I said, what I'm feeling is that you need to be putting your focus on the new venture and stop doubting that it's going to work out. Okay. Because if you do that, then you won't get anywhere. Again, look at this. Again, I'm seeing things picking up winter. Exactly. It's the Knight of Pentacles. We've had a Knight of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles, so they go very well together. But it's about using your passion and allowing it to grow in the right way. Okay, look, can you see the leaves there, the abundance? You can see the red, it's that root again. And then you have the pentacle, which is, of course, the coin. Okay, and this is about plowing the earth again, getting back to our 7 of Pentacles. Okay, so you are taking charge of your own destiny. Okay, I'm moving forward. And yes, while it might feel slow, and you might want it all to happen tomorrow, you just have to allow things to go, because the yellow is again about getting over your fear, taking actions on them. Don't let your negative thoughts block you. Okay, so have you any specific things you'd like to ask me?
You know, I've just been plagued, you know, like, and it's funny because you've said this a few times. It's just all those thoughts that are constantly in motion. For the past 2 weeks, I've had this anxiety and this nonstop barrage of my thoughts at night. It's thoughts about the most random things. It's thoughts about work. It's thoughts about emails that I need to construct. I'm always thinking overtime in my mind, and it's really causing me stress. And it's causing me lack of sleep and even focus during the day. I'm always having intrusive thoughts in my mind.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Now, you know, we should never really ask a lady her age. How old are you going to be?
No.
Okay. Well,
Old enough.
Old enough. Okay. Well, I'm 46 and proud. What I'm going to say to you is that we are we've just had a huge astrological shift. So Saturn has moved into Aries after being in Pisces for the last 2-3 years, and it's doing this to everybody for the last 2 weeks. Okay, it literally has just moved in. So I don't know if you believe in astrology, but the energy is all about taking back control of your life and pursuing your destiny, because the last, again, 2-3 years have been quite emotional for a lot of people, and they felt like things have always gotten there but never quite. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
And we've all been in that, and we're all kind of going through this, oh shit, I better get my act together kind of phase. Okay. So intrusive thoughts, well, when I deal with people in my muggle life who come to me with anxiety, I give them all sorts of stuff like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method and all that kind of stuff, like, and do it anyway. But remember, fear, what is anxiety? But it's fear of a situation you can't control. So are you going to let it hold you back from living your life? Okay. And when you get that, just sit when you're feeling and think, what am I worried about? Right? Because the solution is often in the problem.
But my anxiety, it's weird because it's
Mhm.
not related to the past. It's what needs to be done.
To be done.
All my
Yeah.
anxiety is like what the future is like. What do I have to do in the next 10 minutes, tomorrow,
Yeah.
in the next week? It's always, but it's like this
Future-based.
internal voice that will not turn off.
Yeah. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, because that's overwhelm you're describing to me, okay?
Yeah.
So what do? You kind of sit there and, okay, rather than freeze, you go, okay, what can I do now? Right? Because there's no point in jumping so many steps ahead, like 2-3 years. What can I do now to help me do what I need to do? Okay, right. Again, it's breaking the pattern so that the thought doesn't take over. Okay, so you interrupt it. I don't know if you've ever done CBT or anything like that, but it's about making sure that you get rid of the intrusive thought by challenging it. Okay, so when you're getting this, okay, can you give me an example, and I'll give you an idea of how to do it.
Like last night, I kept tossing and turning because I'm thinking about this email that I
Okay.
need to write. And I need to detail a lot of stuff in this email, and it's plaguing so much. And it's, is it important? Yes. Is it life changing? No. But it's constantly like a broken record in my mind.
Okay. Have you written the email?
No.
Okay, so that's procrastination. Again, procrastination and avoidant behavior is because we're worried about something. Okay, so what are you worried about the email? What are you worried if the effect of the email will have?
I'm worried about the ramifications and what situation it might cause, but it's something that I have to say, and it's facts that I need to get out there.
So if we go back to the start of this reading, what was I telling you? To make some tough decisions? Okay, but the thing is, the longer you leave it, the harder it'll get. Okay, now, so you're being asked to go and write the email. Sometimes I'm going to say the greatest disinfectant is the light, and sometimes we need to get the truth out there. Does that make sense? Yeah. So again, the only thing that you can control is your own heart, your own honesty, your own way you approach this. Okay, you cannot be responsible for how other people take up things. Okay, as long as you're acting with integrity, you can be assured that that's what you're doing. Okay, and it will work out. Right. So what I would say to you is, rather than beat yourself up, send it out, because it has to be done.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Again, what's the worst can happen? I'm not asking you to tell me now online, but what is the worst can happen? It has to be done anyway. So the longer you leave it, the harder it'll get. But the very start of this reading, I kept seeing you have to make a lot of choices, and sometimes people might get hurt or whatever. But as long as you act with integrity, you can lessen that. And again, because that's going to set you free, because you've just got the Hanged Man in reverse. So the Hanged Man is suspended and everything is stuck, and he needs to take a breath. But look at this. You've got stability. You're able to move on. Okay? Because look, even his legs are in the shape of a 4. Yeah? So you become unstuck and you can see things better. So it's about looking at things from another angle. Okay. So I would say write the email home. But be truthful and honest.
Yeah.
Above all things. Would you like to ask me anything else?
You know, I'd like to go back to my mom. She's constantly on my mind. And it is this confusion that there's been such a separation after her passing. You know, the only connection I have with her is I have almost weekly nightmares about her, and they're never good dreams, ever good dreams at all. And my question is, you know, if she was around me, why don't I feel that connection? Why is my only dreaming of her in such an awful, gruesome, nightmarish way? And we're talking weekly.
Okay. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the cards as a channel. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very specific spirit spread. Okay. So I'm going to, oh, she's very fiery, your mother. She's just come out with the Queen of Wands.
Yeah,
so this is very hot. Yeah,
yes,
she's like,
that's an understatement.
Yeah, she's very, very fiery. Okay, so the Queen of Wands is someone who looks after her own. She's been through her shit and she knows how to use it to help other people. She's what's the expression? So hard as nails and soft as butter. Yeah, very, very fiery, very determined woman. Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't cross her. She'd hit you with a frying pan. No. Yes. Yeah, she's laughing here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cards into 3 piles. So this is the left. Can you see that?
Yeah.
This is the middle, and this is the right. Okay. Now I'm going to bring these cards to bring a message for you. So I want you to pick a pile, and I'm going to pick 4 cards from within. Okay. So pick one of those piles, the one that your intuition is drawn to.
Right.
So to the right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm going to keep shuffling this pile in front of you, okay? And when I shuffle, we're going to pick 4 cards, right, for the message. The message is she around? What's going on? What do you want to say to you, right? Okay. So what I want you to do is when you are ready, I want you to tell me to stop. And for you, Alexandra, I just have a laugh. Why am I hearing this? I'm hearing this really cheeky thing in my head. I'm hearing this word like silken top. I don't know what the hell that means, but anyway. It's a joke. So what I want to say to you is,
did you say like a silken top?
A silken top. Yeah, I'm just hearing this. It's like a joke. It's about because I was about to say top bottom or versatile, and she said silken top.
Well, no, it's funny because I am a top, but I've been known to be a blouse, which is a feminine top.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm hearing. Okay, fair enough. So just randomness of this show, but anyway, we're going to pick top, middle, or bottom. Okay, whenever you're ready, you just shout out whatever you want. Okay, stop and top, middle, or bottom.
Okay, stop and top.
Stop and top. Okay, boom. Now, could you see that? So I'm just leaving it up there for the minute. And we're going to pick 3 more in the same way. Okay.
Stop and bottom.
Stop and bottom. Okay. Okay.
And stop and top.
Stop and top. Okay.
Stop and bottom.
Stop and bottom. Okay. Now. Ooh, that's very interesting. Okay. So the 5 of Wands then is about conflict. Okay. And she's saying to you to pursue your dreams. Okay. She's guiding you to do this. Okay. The nightmares you're feeling is because she wants you to stand up for yourself. There's a situation that you're not standing up for yourself, and she's trying to guide you towards that. Okay, so this is about again, Wands is the creative fire. It's your energies, okay? And she's wanting you to speak with your voice because that's going to bring you to where you're supposed to be. This is the message, okay? So again, it's that 5. It's don't fear the change, move forward. And the reason you're having the nightmares about her is because she's trying to guide you. Because again, remember, you're seeing her suffering because you're feeling that you're not living up to what she wanted you to do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So again, follow your heart. This is interesting because the Queen of Wands is again that, as I said, is the card that represents her in my head to me. So again, she's saying you're your mother's son. That's what she's telling me. And she said she is leaving the signs, you're just not looking for them. Yes. Okay. You're ignoring them. Okay. But I'm telling you, she's after telling me she will give you something very, very specific in the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay. So again, it's about she's asking you to turn your light into turn to the sun and face the light because that's what a sunflower does. Look. Okay. Again, you need to face the sun. Stand in your power, stand in the light. It's having the courage. What you want, there's no harm in asking for what you want. You know, you need to move forward, okay? And you need to pursue it. And, there's ways and means of doing things, okay? But it's about you have to do what's right for you first and help other people afterwards. That makes sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. This is quite interesting. So, the King of Cups reversed is a very, very interesting card. Okay, so the King of Cups is usually about going to see a therapist or a psychiatrist or someone, a spiritual guide, whatever. It's someone in that. Usually, it can be to do with healing. Okay, so what I'm feeling is that in this case, it's emotional healing. Okay, but it's reverse. So what she's telling me is you've kept yourself in grief and it's blocking you from moving forwards. Okay, and what I am being told. Now, I don't want to embarrass you on air, but I'm being told that there's a relationship, it's not a healthy one, or there's something in the past as a man, there's something in your life that just hasn't quite been working. It's like you're blocking this relationship from coming into an emotional one. Okay. And it's to do with the grief because you're so consumed by this that you're actually blocking things coming into you. I don't know if that resonates with you. That's kind of what I'm feeling. Okay.
I'll have to think about that one.
Okay, but it's to do with your own healing, your own emotional healing, okay? That you're blocking this from happening, okay? And I'm saying man because I'm seeing again, it's the creative energy, the snake around the head, it's that kind of stuff. So I'm feeling, and it is a king. So I'm just feeling, and maybe it's about you taking charge of your own emotional life because you're so stuck in your grief. That's kind of what I'm feeling, okay? But it is you're blocking everything from coming into you, okay? And again, this is quite interesting too, because it's the Hierophant reversed. Now, the Hierophant is usually a card of marriage. It's also a card of tradition, okay? But this is reversed. And again, we have the male and the female keys, which is again the masculine and female energy. And it's about being usually the Hierophant is the high priest, so he has authority to speak, okay? But this is it's kind of you're blocking going to the portal, okay? You're stopping yourself standing into your power because you're out of balance, because you're too busy focusing on the wrong thing. You're being asked to step up to the plate, but you're kind of hesitant to do so. So she's asking you to take back this power and stand up and stop worrying about what people are going to think of you. Is this making sense to you?
Yeah.
Because again, he wears the crown of authority. It's the hand of destiny. Again, it's about the balance and listening to your intuition. Okay, because actually, I am being told quite in my head that you are quite an intuitive person. You can't kid a kidder, especially not with you. And this is what I'm feeling. And again, we're seeing oranges and reds. And if you see he's standing in front of a portal, okay? So portal is moving forward, it's change, it's moving into the new life, okay? What I feel for you is that you're blocking your own because of your indecisiveness, because you're trying to book tradition all the time and do your own thing, but you have to work within the confines of that, okay? But you can still create your own legacy and your own stamp. But you need to just figure out how to do that properly. And that is by being true to yourself, because there's a reason you're being given these opportunities, but you keep doubting it. So she's saying, turn your face to the light. Be who you are. That's who you were hired to be. Stop doubting it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? Would you like to ask me anything else? Or is your mum anything else?
I just want to know, the way I just want to know if she's found peace, if she's happy. I want her
Well,
to know that I love her and I think about her every day.
well, Alexander, why would she be here if she didn't love you? She knows that you love
Right.
her. Okay, that spirit only comes to us because they have something to give to us. Okay, and it is usually out of love. Okay, so what I'm going to say to you is, often when people come to me, spirits in tarot, right? They want to clear a karmic debt or whatever, but it's always that you don't always get who you want, but you always get who you need. Okay, and in your case, your mum is here because she's trying to give you a kick up the arse. She wants you to take control of yourself because you're holding yourself back. She is at peace because the spirit world, like, they don't have bills to pay. What have they got to worry about? Do you know what I mean? Once we move into that world, everything is fine. And they actually also begin to see things differently to us because they're going back to the source. So yes, she is at peace. And the illness that she had that took her life, she doesn't feel that anymore. She is totally at peace. She's calm. She's happy. Okay. So you have to stop feeling guilty over this. Okay. There is nothing you could have done. I know this is very hard and very controversial for me to say, but sometimes we choose the hour or it's chosen for us, if that makes it easier. Okay. And your mum had completed what she needed to complete in this life. It was time for her to move into the spirit world. Okay. She's very, very content over there. Okay. Because again, there's no pain, there's no suffering, and they're pure light. Okay. So don't be worrying about anything. You've to stop feeling guilty over her passing, is what she's telling me. And she keeps saying there is nothing that you could have done. You did what you could. Okay. Is that making sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, good. So again, the magician has come out for you. And again, you're being told you have everything inside you to succeed. But the feminine and the masculine need to be balanced because you're out of whack. You're too focused on the career. You're not allowing your personal life to develop. You're blocking everything emotionally towards you. Now, I don't know. You can tell me, no, I'm not Graham. But it's like you're too focused on boom, 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 boom. No, you need to start allowing the balance in and have an emotional life and an emotionally fulfilling life. Again, that's what's going to bring you the peace and stuff moving forward because you are blocking all of this from coming to you. Okay, because you're too focused. And the expression all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Is that resonating with you?
100%.
Yeah. Do you see what I said over here? And you kind of said no? Yeah. I'm always right, hon. Always. So anything else before? Go on. Are we running out of time?
Well, just forgive me for jumping in because I know Alexander's on a schedule and we've got to do some technological stuff before we let him leave completely. So I just wanted to say well done to Graham. Thank you, Alexander. Graham, I'm not sure we've got time for a full Cledon, I'm afraid, but I wonder whether you could give us a blessing.
Yes.
Show us your face. Come back to us with your pick, unless you want to show your cards. So that we can make sure that we let Alexander go on time. Because Alexander, once we finish, just stick around for a couple of minutes while it all downloads and we don't lose your version of the recording.
I tell you what,
I just wanted to say that to you both.
So thank you. Thank you very much. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to just pull one card for the energy of the coming weeks before we, because we don't have time for a full one. But this is just what we're going to be looking at between now and the next show and what we have to remember for that. Because again, can you see the beard is standing on edge? Okay. Oh, look at this. How appropriate. The Two of Wands. And again, we have the Rose and the Lily, the balance, okay? Remember, sometimes we miss the opportunities that we don't take, okay? But it's asking you to listen to your divine guidance, hence the feather, be true to your own voice. And again, It's okay to let people support you along the journey. Can you see the hand coming in from outside? The world will be your oyster. If you make the decision, the old saying is that, what is it? If you take one step towards the gods, they'll take 10 steps towards you. Once we make a decision, destiny will move towards us. Okay, so that is our thing. Don't give in to fear. Don't let the negative thoughts cloud your mind. Move forward joyfully and follow your passions, because you won't be stirred wrong. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
Alexander.
so much, Graham. That was amazing.
No worries. You're very welcome. Keep in touch. Let us know how it goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed. Well, lovely. Well, listen, thank you so much for being with us, Alexander. Graham, well done for all your, I know it's hard work.
Thank you for the invitation. What an amazing way to start Pride season.
Well, this is true.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking of that.
It's,
Remember, all work and no play.
There will be play.
Good.
I bet there will. But just guard your heart, babes.
Yeah.
Well, listen, before we let you go, Alexander, is there anything that you want to tell our lovely listeners and viewers what you've got coming up? Anything you want to point at for everybody?
No, I hope everybody has a good Pride season. You can catch everything from me on therocksradioshow.com. That has links to everything. But I really, really enjoyed this. I think we get along with our, like you said, our busy life. And it's nice to just take a moment and see our place in the bigger space of things. I'm part skeptic, part believer, which is an interesting combination. And we talk about on my podcast, which was Queer from the Other Side. And so we have open conversations as how we deal with that skepticism in our connection to the supernatural, paranormal, astrological realms. Two things can exist within you in the same kind of token. But when you have a moment and you make yourself open and witness to certain things, it's such a breath of fresh air, and it's so mentally and physically healthy. So thank you so much for this invitation. It kind of put a spring in my step on this hump day. And it makes you rethink everything that you're working towards, but it also allows you to pat yourself on the back and say, I've made it this far. Here's my support I have from the other world or other realms, and let's get the damn thing done. And that's for us as a queer culture, this Pride season. We have a lot to celebrate. As much as we are so angry as what's happening in the world, we still have a lot to celebrate, and our voice will never be crushed. And I think it's that spiritual connection to whatever you believe in that gives us our daily, weekly, yearly strength.
Alexander, the message I'm going to leave you is you're being asked to be a leader. Step up to the plate.
There you go. Well,
that's big message I'm getting in my head. Okay, turn your face towards the sun.
With that, my love Liz, we're gonna sign out and have a great Pride, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, everybody, and see you in a few weeks.
Thank you for being with us, Alexander. Have a good one. We'll see you all
so
soon.
much.
Yes, and don't forget to send in your questions. Email us at info@bearsteaandtarot.com. I have a few more, but it would be great to keep them going because, again, everybody, we got lovely feedback from last time. So please, please, please send in more questions. God bless everybody. Good luck and good night. And happy Pride.